On Friday, you reflected on something you did quarter one that you considered to be a success. So today for your bell work, let's each set a new individual goal for quarter two. Take a moment while you jot that down. Today's lesson is a new unit, and it's our last unit in geography. After this unit, we will move on to world history. So it'll be a total shift. This unit is called Comparison of World Regions. So this lesson is just the introduction to that. So for all of the explorations of political, economic, cultural, and social topics that will appear in our course, it's important that we don't overlook the importance of how physical geography shapes the developments in the past and the present, right? So for the rest of the course, we will be looking at history. And believe it or not, geography plays a huge role in history, and that's why we started this year out with an entire quarter of geography. So in your notes, I want you to analyze what does it mean in this little sentence when it says how physical geography shapes developments. Take a moment, pause the video, and write down your answer for number one. Our unit claim for this unit is that the pre-AP World History and Geography World Regions map is primarily regionalized to reflect cultural and economic patterns. So we're going to break this down. First of all, we have looked at this map before, but we are going to review it again today. So this map is the pre-AP World History and Geography World Regions map. This claim is saying that it's primarily regionalized or broken into regions, right, to reflect cultural and economic patterns. So for us to understand this and break this claim down, I want to go over some vocabulary. So the first one is the word regionalized. That literally just means split up into regions, right? So they're saying that this map is split into regions to reflect or to show cultural and economic patterns. So cultural is anything that's relating to ideas, customs, and social behavior of a society. So whether it's language or religion, right? The last thing it's saying, it's regionalized. So this map that we're going to look at today and that we've looked at in the past for this course is split into regions based on things like ideas, customs, social behavior of a society, and the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, right? So economics talking about money. So if you produce something, you distribute it, like you transport it somewhere. And then consumption is like when people use those goods and services. They purchase them and use them, right? All of those things are about money, right? So it's saying that this map that we're going to look at today is split up based on things like customs, social behavior, language, religion, and then also money. On your worksheet, it asks you to define these three terms, right? I want you to really, truly understand this claim. So define regionalized, cultural, and economic in your notes. Take a moment, pause the video if you need to in order to do that. So as we explore our sources today, we're going to create questions based on evidence that we are observing looking at these sources, right? So first, like normal, we'll observe and just jot down what you see. So as we go through the sources, you have a spot on your paper for each one and it says observations. Just jot down what you see. Then if you look in those same boxes, you have to write statements in the structure of I see blank, so I wonder blank. Right? So this is where we're going to create questions based on evidence we're observing. So the I see blank is the evidence you're observing. So I wonder blank is the question you're creating, right? This is a type of learning that makes you think a little bit deeper when you're looking at a source. You really have to think about it in order to come up with a question, right? Sometimes you don't automatically have questions about the map, especially if you don't care, but you really have to think a little bit deeper in order to come up with a quality question. The last thing you're going to do for each source is just explain what we've determined or what you're determining the color shades of each map means, right? So each map has a different set of colors. One of them is gray and white, and then two of them have actual colors. What do those colors mean? Okay. So the first map is the map, like I said, we've seen this one before. This is our pre-AP World History and Geography World Regions map. This is source one. So take a moment, pause the video, and while you're looking at this map, fill out the entire box for source one. This is source 2. This is the Köppen-Geiger climate classification map. So go ahead, pause the video, and fill out the box for source 2. All right, and this is source 3. Source 3 is a little bit different because it doesn't have a legend for you, but this is a satellite image that just shows you the entire world. Well, it's actually many images put together. So as you look at this image, you're going to answer the questions in source 3. This one might be a little harder for you to determine what the colors mean. You have to kind of use your common sense. So go ahead, take a moment and jot that down, or pause the video so you can jot that down. All right, let's move on to question 2 in our notes. It says to review sources 2 and 3, and in a moment I'm going to go forward in the video for you to do that so you don't have to rewind. I'll put them back up for you. What similarities can you see in their coloring? So on your paper, number 2, I'm going to go forward onto the next slide so you can see it without having to alter the video. So here I have put the maps side by side so you can use them to answer question 2. Go ahead, pause the video and answer question 2. Question 3 says, to what extent would maps 2 and 3, those are the ones in color, be helpful in determining why a nation is regionalized the way it is? What about a local area, like a city, right? So if you're looking at maps 2 or 3, would they help us understand why an area is regionalized? So a nation, for example, why it's broken into like north, northwest, south, or why it's broken into states, or what about like a different nation? We could talk about Spain, why that one's broken up. Like if you're looking at maps 2 or 3, would these pieces of information help you determine that? Also, what about a local area? So if you're looking at maps 2 and 3, would it help you figure out why Tampa is organized the way that Tampa is, right? So I'm going to go forward in the video, so it's going to put the maps back side by side again, and you can use those to answer question 3. So go ahead and use these to answer question 3. Pause the video if you need to. All right, for question 4, it says compare sources 2 and 3 to source 1. Right, so the 2 colored maps, compare it to the black and white map. What boundaries or patterns in sources 2 and 3 might have informed some of the boundaries between the regions? So we're saying, like, if you're looking at the black and white map, or the grayish map, are some of the regions that this course has determined, like the way they've regionalized that map, do some of them, do you think, have some influence from information we gathered from sources 2 and 3? All right, you are about to read an excerpt from the brochure. It's called Natura 2000 in the Mediterranean Region from the European Commission, and you're going to answer some DBQs on your paper. But before we do that, I just want to show you a couple visuals of the Mediterranean, just because I'm a visual learner and it helps me read. So if I'm reading about a place, if I already know kind of what it looks like, it helps me visualize it as I read. So I'm going to go forward. All right, so this is a map of the Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean Sea is all the blue in the center where it says Mediterranean Sea, but it is south of Europe, right? So if we look, let me grab a marker. Okay, so Spain, France, these are places you should be kind of familiar with. Italy, right? Then we have Sicily and Greece. This is where Turkey is. This is where Syria is. We've got Egypt. This is all North Africa, right? This is beautiful handwriting. Really, I should go into graphic design. And then this is Europe, right? So the Mediterranean Sea is between North Africa and Europe. It's really centralized in some major areas. And we spend a lot of time in history looking at the Mediterranean Sea. So that this is the area that we're going to be reading about. And I'm going to go forward and show you some actual pictures. And this is what the Mediterranean looks like. Isn't it absolutely beautiful? So this is on my bucket list. It's huge because it has so many cool places. So if you say the Mediterranean, then that's like Spain and France and Italy and Greece and everywhere. So it's beautiful. This is how beautiful the water is. The picture in the center, when you're doing the reading, it talks about how hilly it is. That's showing you that. And then the pictures on the right, when you read the article, it talks about its landscape. So this shows you the different landscapes, okay? So go ahead and read the excerpt, finish your worksheet because the questions on the rest of your worksheet are based on that reading, and submit those. Bye-bye.